a thing or object in the middle of a light. When a sun or a particular light comes, falls on a portion of a thing or a object, the particular portion gets lighted from the sun. The other particular portion doesn't get lighted, it forms the shadow.
A shadow is a reflection of the light source.
What is a black part over there? Is that the shadow?
Yes, sir. Because the another part, this part of the light, sir, it goes and reflects there, sir.
Which part? Can you show over here?
The end part.
Can you point out over there? Which part?
Yes.
Shadow is nothing but a reflection of the light. Shadows are things blocking light. Shadows are dark objects found by light.
Light source hits on object. The object's reflection is the shadow. Sir, this is the light which falls here, sir. This is dark, sir. So this dark part falls as the shadow, sir.
Okay, so the dark part falls as the shadow. What we saw were class 4 students who were having various ideas about shadows and how shadows are formed. And it's really interesting to see that students build alternate conceptions about a topic which they haven't learned just based on their day-to-day life experiences. And so when we actually teach certain concepts in school, it becomes important that we understand how students are thinking about that concept before we have taught them. And if they are scientifically incorrect, correct them scientifically while teaching the concept.
Wall, it will reflect on the big cube. So then it will together come up on the screen. So then we'll show it like B.
Okay, so it will together come on the screen after it falls on the big cube.
The shadow of the small ball and the shadow of the big cube comes in the screen and it becomes like this one. It's B because the ball is in the front and while the light is going, it will join the square and come, so it should be this. Like the ball and the cube will come together, so it will come like this.
Okay, so you are saying the light, where is the light coming from?
Torch.
Torch. Okay, why is the light required in this case?
To form a shadow.
Okay, so without light, can we form the shadow?
Yeah.
So the ball's shadow will come on the cube, and the cube's shadow can't come on the screen because the cube's blocking the light from the screen. So
But one second. You are saying the cube's shadow cannot come on the screen. What is the reason for that?
So because cube blocks half the light and light cannot pass through solid objects. So the shadow cannot be formed because the cube is blocking half of it.
Okay, the shadow cannot be formed because the cube is blocking the light. Okay.
Students have various ideas about shadows, and when applied in this context leads them to certain answers. The question was designed to test their understanding of shadows in this particular context, where they also have to apply their visual reasoning skill depending on the position of the object. As we saw, there were students who were answering B. We had a torch, a small ball, a big cube and a screen. So they said that the shadow of the small ball will fall on the cube and together their shadow will appear on the screen as D, a square with a circle in the center. Probably they are thinking that all the objects that come in the way of light cast their shadows. They aren't clear about the concept that the position and the size of the object also matters when a shadow is formed.
Sir, the shadow of the small ball hits on the big cube, sir. So no shadow appears of the small ball, sir. So the big cube shadow falls on the screen and the big cube's shadow only forms.
Okay, so what is the answer?
The answer is the big cube shadow.
A, B, C or D?
Yes.
A.
Cube is here, sir. So the cube shadow falls on the cube, and like the screen is here.
Okay.
So the like little light is seen this side.
Okay.
So the cube shadow falls on the screen.
So how does the cube shadow on the screen look like?
Because it looks like one square or so.
Ball is smaller than the cube, so the cube will be in the shadow, but the ball is not to be seen because it is small.
Do you understand what she's saying, Riksha Shalaka?
Yeah, I understand what she says, but it is in the middle and it is blocking the center.
Okay. So you think the answer will be B?
Yes,
Okay. So Vriksha, if the ball is kept on this side of the cube, between the torch and the cube, then what will be the answer?
Answer will be A.
Okay, because it is not getting blocked now. Okay.
A. We thought they were answering it correctly, and so we thought of changing the question a bit. We interchanged the position of the ball and the cube, and we asked them again what the answer will be. And the students those who were answering A changed their answer to B. They were somewhere clear that the position of the objects matter, but they had a misconception probably that the object that is afterwards blocks the shadow of the first object. So the cube, there was a torch, there was a cube, the small ball and the screen. So the shadow of the cube will fall on the ball, and since the ball is coming later, it will block a certain part of the shadow of the cube, and so that part will not appear on the screen, and so it will look like B on the screen. That was probably the misconception they had.
What we saw in the student responses over the last few minutes was that students have certain mental models, ways of thinking about the world, certain ideas, and clearly these ideas are not what we intended to pass on to them as teachers or interested adults. These are ideas children have found by actively trying to make sense of what they are seeing around them or what has been taught. What is, however, important to understand here is that the instinctual reaction of adults or teachers when they see these kind of responses is to say that, let me explain this again, let me explain this more clearly, 2 times, if not thrice. This is bound to fail. So what we find is that it's extremely important for a teacher to listen first, find out what is already on the child's mind, to then help the child to review the correctness of this idea, weigh it against other ways of thinking, other mental models, to really be able to say that no, this didn't work and this is a better way of looking at things. And our hope is that teachers start doing this based on seeing films like this. You have seen just one concept, but there are several such ideas across class levels, across topics. And this is our hope, that teachers will become active listeners and we will have a chance to teach our children better.